Fragments of silicon, guaranteed not to punch people in the face for no reason. Petty.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me, as always, are the deadly duo of Petty and the Golics.
I resent the implication that I am deadly.
I already have a duo. This is awkward.
Okay, causing minor wounds. Doesn't exactly same flow, you dig? Anyway, let us get to the news, such as it is. Petty, why don't you go first since, well, you've got another kidney.
Well, yeah, I've had, this is the same kidney stone I've had for a little while now. Probably a few weeks.
The first time you mentioned it was the other day, though.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I have another kidney stone. It's just hard to go to the doctor when both the parents work the day shift. So, and because it's not blocking any, like not fully blocking it, there's not a whole lot they do. They'd literally just do what I'm doing now, just tell me to drink more water, and they might give me something like Flomax to help, but they really can't do much unless it blocks the urinary system, unfortunately. So it's just been kind of keeping an eye on that, and that would have been my only news for the week until yesterday we started having rain coming in the house. There is a leak in our roof. So
That's not a good place to have a leak.
Yeah, generally any water ingress into the domicile is overall a bad thing. So apparent insurance basically have told us go look for a contractor to come take a look at it. If it's under $1,000, we just deal with it ourselves, and that's that. If it's if it just needs a patch or whatever. If we need the whole roof replaced, then basically we pay the $1,000 deductible, and then homeowners insurance will pay to have the roof replaced. So that's gonna be fun. Wait, no, opposite of fun. That's gonna be annoying as hell. So that's just another thing to deal with going on. Luckily, it's going to be warm and dry for the next week or two, so hopefully we can see about getting someone relatively quick, and best case, it's a cheap patch job, put some hot tar up there where the leak is, and it's done. It's handled. We don't need to deal with this again. Worst case, oh boy, we get to have the whole roof replaced again. Last time this happened was when we had the major ice storm in 2007 here. So, luckily, most of that was handled while my sister and I were at school. Just because of all the extensive damage to the city, basically, insurance covered it. We didn't even have a deductible at that point because there was just so much roof damage in the area. And it was, most of the house was handled while my sister and I were back at school. So this will be my first time dealing with that, if we have to. So yeah, it's been mostly just, right now it's been the even though we had snow last night, we haven't had any new drainage. So it was just kind of checking where the leaks were, making sure, there's not new water there and or the wet spots have not moved.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the fun things about having a house from the year 1920. As far as like everything else, gaming related, I got my Digimon boxes for the new 2.5 set. First box was pretty alright. Got a few decent cards. And then my second box. Gulix already knows this one, but I got what is currently the worst secret rare in the game. I got 3 of them. The card goes for about $1.50 right now. So, yeah, that was awful. Luckily, the other pulls kind of made up for it. I have just about everything I need to build the decks I'm looking to run this format. It's just waiting for the couple of odd cards to make their way here in the mail. So hopefully that is, they get delivered next week. And then I can see about trying the deck out either online or going to the card shop the weekend after. As far as like other gaming things, I tried playing the new Sonic Unleashed recompile on PC, but something is very broken when it comes to my computer, and I have a horrific audio issue, and the in-game cutscene or in the CGI cutscenes like they did back in the day are running at about less than half speed. I submitted a bug report to the dev team who are working on the like recompile because it's a fan project. Submitted a bug report with them, and I've not heard anything as of right now. So hopefully they can kind of fix that. I mean, it's not the worst ever because I still have my Xbox 360 and my disc copy. So it's not like this is my only way to play it at this point ever again. It's just I'd like to, give it a try with the, higher resolution, higher frame rate, some of the quality of life changes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing that's going to, oh my god, I can't live without this. Like, nah, I will persist. Because I imagine with as much hype as behind it, Sega might be realizing, hey, we could actually just handle this, whether it be they hire the development team behind the recompile, kind of like they did with Christian Whitehead, and just say, hey, yeah, you have our official blessing. Go port Sonic Unleashed to PC. Here's the official assets. Good luck. That is one of the things I do like about Sega is they are willing to do that stuff, unlike certain other red game companies. uh, I want to try and get Monster Hunter Wilds, but alas, the money that was going to go towards that went into replacing my GPU. So that might be looking at a birthday angle. Which, I mean, my birthday is the end of next month, so I'm going to miss the big rush, but I'll still probably be able to find people to play with if I really want to. One of those things that it's mildly unfortunate, but, making sure my computer works is a little bit better than trying to get a game.
Especially if you need your computer to play the game.
I mean, I could have got on PlayStation 5, but yes.
Oh, right, you have a current console.
Yes. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys.
I have heard that this one is rather graphically intensive in the
it's
get your shit together and
it works pretty all right on the consoles. It's just something is up with AMD GPU drivers in particular that, oh my god, what the hell did they do? But they know they're working with AMD to sort it out. It's probably going to come in the next content patch, unless there's something like actually broken, because most of it's just mildly annoying graphics bugs.
I see.
But yeah, and yeah, I think that's it from me. Sorry, my news is a little long. I actually had stuff that happened this week.
Noted. Galax, well, it's your go then.
I guess not too much going on around here aside from all the stuff I'm worrying about real life, or not sort of like personal, but like
Overall politics, let's say.
yeah.
Socially, as some would call it.
Yeah, my parents are away again doing some preparation for some dealing with my stuff for my grandfather's estate for a week, so that's the thing. My weekend Pathfinder game is going to be having to move to someone else's house because the normal host had a significant drainage backup in their basement last week.
That's never good.
Um, so they're working on. Thankfully, not too much stuff is lost totally, but they're gonna have to take up the floor and make sure that there's not going to be mold and stuff like that. So that's a pain. So yeah, we're going to be doing that at someone else's place for probably a few weeks, and I will hopefully be able to go over and help him take care of some stuff, because a lot of junk that needs to be taken care of. To move, like, just stuff needs to be moved so it can be dealt with properly. Video game wise, still mostly playing Dead Cells. Oh, I also went to the Digimon pre-release, and I got one of the 2 boxes for this that I pre-ordered. But I haven't picked up the other one yet because sometimes they don't get them all at once. And it was a pre-release, so they didn't get as many as they were going. They get more for the actual release. I prefer it when I can only get 1 box, but this is the second half of a special release thing, which combines 2 sets, which means the frequency is all jacked up most of the time.
Odds of getting what you want out of just 1 box are very, very low because they smushed a box and or a set and a half together.
Yeah, there's actually a few different things I might actually try and build with this set, but I'm sure the prices will have something to do with some of that.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking at my Alphamon stuff like, yay!
I mean, I got a few of those, but Alphamon's in my... I like it, but I don't know if I want to play it. But I kind of like the idea of the way the Violet Ghost deck plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I might try and do something with the water stuff.
Honestly, I'm shocked you're not playing Justimon, what with Common Rider and stuff like that.
I kind of would like to. I mean, I'll have to see what kind of decks come up for that.
Fair.
Also, treating Justimon with this... It's okay for a card game. But it annoys me when they treat Justimon with his different arms as 4 different things, when half the point of it is that he can just... one of his moves is literally changing what arm he's using.
I know, but they don't have a good way to do equip cards with the way Digimon is.
Yeah, no, like I said, for the card game it's less of an issue, but having it that way on the reference book and on Wikimon annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. I hadn't really tried that much. I'll see if there's a deck of those that shakes out that looks fun. But I kind of like the ghosts that are like, oh hey, I died, but sorry, there's 2 more of me now.
Oh yeah, it's very... I like that in theory because I was a big zombie player in Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, so very much a oh, you killed my guy, here comes three more. Good luck, Godspeed.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know everything I've got yet because obviously I only got half of what I was getting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much what's up, I think.
Okay. I guess it's my go. Let's see. I guess the big news items for me were having to get the, not necessarily me, but having to get the faucet, the shower faucet in the bathroom fixed.
Oh, those are
Turns
never
out there was a
fun.
plastic. Yeah, it turns out
Mm-hmm.
there was a plastic bit that connected it to the pipe that had worn out. I'm
Mm,
like, but that's been taken care of, and uh, I can reliably shower again. Not that it stopped completely working. It's just it would have it. It had a tendency to come loose,
yeah.
and you know, to the point where I couldn't turn the knob properly at points, and tightening the bolts only was a temporary reprieve. So that's done. But I suppose the big thing is I'm getting my couch replaced. Um, I just I just got a new couch off of Amazon, so bit concerned there because,
It feels weird you can get
well,
furniture off Amazon, but I get it, like, nowadays, yeah.
I mean, they had a couch there going for a reasonable amount of money, let's say,
Mm,
like plus a reasonable amount of, let's say, payments. Um,
fair.
you
I mean,
know,
granted, the
um,
biggest thing I've ever ordered off Amazon was a do-it-yourself shelving kit. So,
I'm like, and the thing is, my current couch, the middle section's busted, so it's been needing to replacing for a while.
mm,
It's just, finally was able to come around to that. You uh, like I said, I'm a bit concerned because I can't do what you can do with like buying a couch on the floor, so to speak. And that is sit on it.
right, yeah, that's kind
And
of why I don't buy clothes off Amazon. Oh, did our guest drop?
looks like it.
That's not good.
Uh-oh. Um, um, this is a bit awkward. Let me see if he's still online. Uh, didn't like run away. I'm not seeing him online. Uh, uh, okay.
Well, that's not good.
No. And this is also making things extra awkward because we're, live broadcasting right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, mm, like, I have no idea what happened here. Like, so I've got an idea. Okay, we're gonna switch the topic and the interview.
All right.
So we're gonna talk about Gex right now and see what hopefully Oscar will respond.
Yeah, hopefully
Um,
it's just like a technical failure of some kind, because that has
yeah.
happened.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Let me switch around some things. All right.
yeah. Thankfully, we are, if nothing else, masters of the improvisational tactic.
All right. I guess you have anything left to do for your news before we go into the topic, or?
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's time to move forward anyway. Anyway, so yeah. Touching on the topic of discussion this week, we are talking about Gex, and specifically the original Gex, not the franchise, not the sequels, but the original Gecko with. I hesitate to use the word attitude because, okay, the thing about Gex is, like, when he was presented like as the Crystal Dynamics logo back in the 90s and such, and like the Gex box art, very much the prototypical cool animal mascot, especially with the fucking sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't really Gex's thing in game, was it? Like, Gex wasn't really presented as a mascot with attitude in game.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by attitude.
I mean, Sonic and every mascot that tried to ape his aesthetic. That rude, extreme vibe that is so very 90s.
Yeah, he was always more
Yeah.
about the pop culture references.
Yeah, yes. But beyond that, like, Gex wasn't presented, in like a backwards ball cap or sunglasses in game, or he didn't have that edgy mascot look that Sonic and his contemporaries had.
Not depicted constantly doing what we now describe as the DreamWorks face.
Exactly. In fact, he looks a lot friendlier than your average mascot.
Yeah. He still looks like you'd have him on an action figure, but not like the cool action figures, if that makes sense.
Well, okay. I think the preeminent difference to what I'm talking about is in the in-game cinematics and his in-game sprite. He's smiling as opposed to his box art representation where he's smirking or like sneering, which is much more of the thing that 90s tude mascots did. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile with attitude.
Right.
And that goes into his, person, because Gex is very much the Shrek, if you will, of the 90s. Only not as popular.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, trying to gather my thoughts here. Right. I always found it odd that Bubsy was the one who got attached with the annoying chatterbox designation, when it's really Gex who's the one who did that spiel from the beginning. I suppose Bubsy morphed into it, through sequels and like the PlayStation version. I'll be honest, I never played those. I only played the original Bubsy, and yeah, he spoke, but you were kind of limited by what a Super Nintendo could generate speech-wise. Whereas Gex, since he was born on the 3DO of all consoles, he had a lot of speech from the get-go.
Yeah. And not just a lot of speech, but a lot of speech pertinent to the levels he was in.
Yes. And also high-quality speech as well. None of that bit crunch nonsense from your Sega Genesis.
Right.
So that's kind of the things that made Gex stand out at the time. Because, honestly, it wasn't the gameplay for the most part. Because I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but Gex is very much a platformer in game from the 90s. Though thankfully, Gex design adheres more to for a bit of shorthand, the Mario school of level of design. There's not a lot of loops, dips. Gex is a lot more flat, but I will say this is the rare platforming members that this is an animal mascot that can do what an animal mascot does. As in, Gex can stick to walls sometimes. He uses his tongue to gather power-ups. It's not much, but it's more than you got from a lot of these mascots who are just an animal that's, Sonic is a hedgehog. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of deal. I'm like, and once again, as far as the game itself, it plays, but it's also a testament to how strong the mascot platformer overall was in the 90s and why it was so prevalent. Because Gex was a major success in its relatively small pool. Because Gex is cited as being the best seller. Not sure if we know exact sales, but or how the sales break down, but I have seen that Gex has sold anywhere from 700,000 to 1 million copies. Like I said, that could be including all of the other ports to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that is a very improvement for one of these also rans that was gloating up store shelves. And maybe that speaks to where Gex was at the time, because he started on the and he migrated to the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation very quickly. It wasn't a launch title, but he was pretty close to that. So the point is, Gex showed up where there wasn't a lot of other games on those particular platforms.
Mm-hmm. Because early PS1,
plus,
people were still trying to figure out how to code for the damn thing.
Well, it wasn't just that, but 2D hadn't quite gone out of style yet.
Yeah.
The difference between releasing Gex in 1994 to 1996 to releasing a 2D platformer on the big boy systems in, say, 98. You're probably getting regulated to the bargain bin.
Mm-hmm.
Rightly or wrongly, it's just 90s 3D is the new hotness. And if you're still engaging in the old dimensionality, you're either a cult hit, or you're a niche product. I know what's the difference.
At least in the US.
Right. Well, the point is, a lot of 2D shmups are still going around in the late 90s, but those are built for a very hardcore audience, as opposed to, say, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is built for a normal gaming audience, but didn't find much success. It was still successful, but basically considered to be an underground classic during its initial release. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. So, the point is, Gex was successful enough to negotiate sequels. And that is, that is always impressive for a new gaming mascot in the period of overexposure and just a glut of these.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't think our guest is returning. I haven't heard back from him. I think he just bailed.
I don't know if he, because if he's not online, I don't know if he had a connection issue.
I'm like, well, he's all green lighted. Like, so, like I said, I don't know what's going on. But the point is, Petty, you're probably going to have to set up the backup plan.
Alrighty.
Like, and also have to retitle stuff. Because because this happened mid-episode.
Yeah.
The issues with a live broadcast. No, he is off. Like,
Yeah. So
might have been a connect. Yeah,
might be connection. We don't know.
Like,
We'll probably find out in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, we might we'll have to reschedule that then.
Yeah.
Because like I said, whatever the problem is, it's prolonged. So in lieu of an actual interview tonight, once again, apologies for the roughness of the broadcast. This is just kind of the dangers of doing all this live.
Indeed.
So you just have to, we just have to talk through it, as they say. So in lieu of all that, we're going to be taking a look at a video, not the Computer Chronicles. We don't quite have time for that. Instead, we're going to look at another Nintendo promotional video. In this case, we're going to look at the promo video that Nintendo mailed to Nintendo Power subscribers to hype up the then upcoming Nintendo 64. Not a specific game, but the system in general, and a few of its supposed launch titles. I say supposed because Star Wars Shadows of the Empire features very prominently here, and that was not a launch title. That came
It was
a
a
few
prominent
months
title,
later.
but it was not there at the beginning.
Yeah, probably targeted, but it needed some refinement.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows of the Empire did well for itself. And Petty, do you have that all hooked up yet?
I think so. I will set up the screen share.
Yeah. Once again, this is usually the kind of thing that gets ironed out pre-show, but all right, there we go.
All right. Everything looks functional.
Yeah.
All
right.
Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So we ready?
Yes.
I thought it'd be nice to play some of these tapes here on my channel.
I suppose it's worth mentioning that
starting with the latest one I got here.
I had this tape
for the
in
Nintendo
the.
64.
Do you want me to skip ahead to the actual
There's
start of the
anyone out there
program?
that also collects these.
Hang on,
Let me
I'm
know
having
in
a
the
connection
comments.
issue here.
If you're interested in movies on VHS and DVD, I have another YouTube channel where I play some clips
Bloody
from
hell.
some of the VHS movies on
This
my
is the
TV,
problem with impromptu stuff.
just as I do here with playing video games. Some of it's mostly horror, some sci-fi, and some cartoons. I'll be putting up some episodes of the old Zelda cartoon, Ghostbusters, and Transformers. The link to my movie channel will be in the description.
Everything sorted out, Adam?
I think so.
All right.
All right.
Just in time.
Yes. Whew.
On June 23rd, 1996, N64 was released in Japan. The results were nothing less than phenomenal.
Alright.
Within hours, over 500,000 systems cleared the shelves.
Might want to boost the
Yeah, the audio is still very low.
Fair enough. All right, I boosted a little bit.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. And it wasn't exactly the video I wanted to grab, but once again, time pressures
Yeah.
were here.
On September 29th, N64 is scheduled for release
Yeah.
in North
I'm not sure if
America.
either of you have ever seen this particular video.
Pretty sure
I-
I had it too.
I never had Nintendo Power anything, so I have not seen this.
This is N64.
Yeah. Anyway. And one thing I always wondered about this is, who are these people? Like,
Nintendo at the time had the money to literally hire celebrities.
Yeah,
Instead-
they preferred to use their money for not that.
well, they're also hyped as three of the top game players at the
Mhm.
time, and I'm like, what's the criteria? What are we determining here? Were there tournaments?
Yeah.
You know, it's some just trust me, bro, nonsense.
Mm.
The driving force in the next generation of video games. With 64-bit technology, you're witness to moves and graphics that no other system can match. 360-degree viewing.
And once again, you can tell we're in the 90s because of all the fucking negative filters and shit.
I know. It's like negative filters, my beloved.
Yeah.
I'd take a negative filter over AI art any day of the week.
Welcome to N64.
Well, yeah, like, we're not talking about AI.
I know, but just as far as trends go.
Mm. Well, AI art isn't a trend, it's a scam.
journey begins this way, and from this way we go that way. Yo, what is this? Yo, it's kinda dark in here.
Behold
Hey, guys,
the
I'm Nut.
room
So,
of
I understand you're here to find out about the
televisions.
Nintendo 64.
Yes.
Yes, Ken Lobb, a surprising fixture of these videos.
Mhm.
And
Ken
he's
Lobb,
also
the guy who
the-
got a gun named after him in Perfect Dark, or was it
Yeah.
GoldenEye?
It was a Golden Knives, but the club returned in Perfect Dark.
You notice that Mario's standing in this huge field outside of a big castle. Now, if I
Ah,
take you
yes,
closely,
Mario
I just move it a
64.
little bit. You notice that Mario starts to tiptoe. Move a little bit farther, Mario starts
I mean,
this kind of slow walk. Crank it,
This
he
is the
goes
kind of
full
thing
on
that a lot of
speed.
people
Big
might
circles.
mock.
Oh,
but
yeah.
In
Control.
1996, this was mind blowing.
Yeah, like analog. You figure for every generation before this, we didn't really have analog movement, especially in a
wasn't a
3D.
We didn't have analog input.
Exactly. Like, well, okay, there was some of the Atari stuff that did have analog input, but it was jerky as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it wasn't
Yeah,
fast enough to have a high enough polling rate to be able to utilize the analog movement well.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the N64.
Yeah, and because they knew analog control was going to be a vital part of 3D platform.
And yet the Switch still doesn't have analog fucking triggers.
Well, analog triggers is a different thing.
I
We're talking
know,
about the
but I
analog-
can still be salty when I play Mario Kart.
Well, yeah, like analog triggers is something that's important for racing. Really, only racing.
It actually allows full
Mhm.
360-degree control. Okay, so I'm gonna cruise along here and jump into this picture.
And we're
That's a
also
random
seeing
cut.
transition to.
How'd you do that?
Trust me, Nintendo would get worse at this
Pretty hard.
as the videos would go on.
Is bro okay?
But this is still
This level's kinda cool
this is still their most straight-laced Nintendo 64 video.
Oh, I know
the
that.
ones
They
that-
got severely unhinged. But I'm wondering if
Yeah.
Bro's okay running into paintings and shit.
I'm like, presumably so. Like,
That's what the helmet's for?
mm. I'm sorry. What is
yeah.
with these close-ups and going to
Random
3
facial
frames?
movements and yeah.
Like,
some of that might be just capture fuckery, but like the framing and the like weird frame rates. But for the most part, yeah, that was just weird.
It's more attempts to try and be hip with the kids, I think.
Quite.
But you don't
So
and
long,
now
Bowser.
And no, we still don't know what Mario's saying when he throws Bowser.
Yeah. And I don't even think Charles Martinet is even gonna, tell us what he was told to say there.
Pilot Wings.
Hi, Pilot Wings.
AKA the franchise Nintendo busts out when they have new technology to get across.
Yep.
Especially new graphical technology. Because Pilot Wings didn't show up for the Wii. Even though it's definitely a franchise that could have
most unique flight simming game you've ever played in your life. When you're playing the game, you feel like that you're actually in the game. For example, in this hang glider level, there's going to be some rings you got to fly.
Anyway, Pilot Wings 64, aka the neglected N64 was there. Like, I'm generally wondering who had Pilot Wings 64 because, everybody was about, was about Mario 64 and just Mario 64.
Yeah, because, was Pilot
No, I
Wings...
never did.
And it isn't like Pilot Wings was sold at a budget price.
Yeah.
A budget price here being like $40 or something like that. It was a fully priced title. Just not having the marquee value that Mario
Bro just died.
That was completely intentional.
I know it was, but that's just the hilarity of it. They made a man die.
Yeah.
When you get to the point 2, you think you're actually good at this game? Try this. Try getting a silver or gold medal in all 3 events.
Have you had enough of 90s trying to be awesome yet? I know I have.
Also, they're having some fun with this picture in picture. Wait, why is there a Banjo Tooie box there?
That was just what whoever set up the scene here. This isn't the only video part is actually playing on the TV. This is just the video uploaders scene they put up.
Yeah. This wasn't a part of the tape.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing.
Right. Hi, Star Wars.
Eye-concerning bit of music.
Yeah, that might get us copyright dinged.
Yeah, it was only a second.
True.
Star Wars is that there are several different game types in this game. Actually, you fly a snow speeder over the ice world.
And finally, we see the backwards baseball cap.
I mean, it can't be
somehow
something from the 90s without it, bro.
I was waiting for it.
Legal requirement of the decade.
Anyway, Shadows of the Empire. Ooh. I'm trying to think if we ever did a topic of discussion on this game.
If we
or rather-
did, I wasn't there.
Yeah, because it was less like this game was only part of this weird experiment Star Wars was doing at the time, where
Well, it was
What
one of the
if we
first
had-
big EU things that they like actually promoted. I think this
Well,
is
yeah,
actually
I
part
mean-
of like the second phase of EU books,
Yeah.
when they were trying to be a little bit more cohesive about it and try to quality control better than, say, Darksaber and the Crystal Star.
Well, and this is also before the production started on the prequel trilogy, right?
This was
Yes,
when, it was
this
somewhere
came-
between then and the
this-
remastered release of the original trilogy, the first time.
this is even before the special editions.
Yeah.
The first one that came out in '97. So
Yeah, it was
But,
like working up to
let me-
that.
yeah, let me finish, Galax, here,
Sorry.
because this wasn't just promoting a book. This was promoting a whole slew of things that were connected to each other, but the only thing missing was that, where's the Shadows of the Empire movie? There isn't one. But what we do
There's
have
a
is-
novel, but no.
Yeah, there's a book, there's a game, there's a fucking soundtrack, but there's not a movie. There's action figures, but there's not a movie. Like I said, so this is beyond just like promoting the expanded universe novels, and it's this weird aberration of a franchise
Mm-hmm.
at a very specific moment in time that I don't think we would ever see again.
Yeah, because right now we're doing just basically vignettes from the Star Wars franchise.
Which, don't get me wrong, Shadow of the Empire has a good amount of that.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
even
Shadows
a
of the
novel.
Empire. Honestly, Shadows of the Empire would fit very nicely into what Disney's doing right now with the franchise.
Mm.
Coming up with a new character to fill in the gaps between Empire and Return. And you're telling me that Disney wouldn't be on board with that if it hadn't already been done?
Oh,
I
hi,
mean,
Air Ride.
Motherfuck.
Mm-hmm.
And now highlighting some of the lower end titles, or too far in advance for us to effectively promote.
Yeah, I was about to say
And that
lower
doesn't-
end as 007 rolls across the screen. I mean, granted, as 007 was being dev, no one had any idea it was going to blow up as big as it did.
Yeah, 007 in development was seen as a complete B project.
Yeah,
At
and then
best.
Vesuvius erupted and like, oh shit.
I'm not sure. It's not really a volcano blast. It was more a steady stream of lava.
Mm.
Um,
And then
and, here's Star
random
Fox
awkward pictures of children.
yeah, but yeah, Star Fox 64 here. Also, don't blink and you'll miss the Doom logo.
will be released in limited quantities. You know the date, you know the system, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait.
Like I said, as far as this promotional video goes, it's fine, but it's the least interesting of these.
Mm-hmm.
Next time we get to the real gold, because next time will be Star Fox 64, and that's when things get weird. That's when things get hammy. That's when things get very, very mockable. As opposed to this, which is, outside of the 90s being the 90s, is perfectly fine. Like, it's hyping up the games as it should.
I would like to go back to
and
the
yeah, there-
90s.
I'm fine with not being in the 90s.
I mean, I'd rather
Right.
be in the 90s than now, but
Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll about do it. for this installment of
Adam, you're
Fragments of
breaking up.
Silicon.
Did we lose him?
One day I will try to understand the mysteries. Hello?
Hello.
Now you're back.
All right. Anyway, coming up on the week ahead, as previously mentioned, there is no Friday show. We do have a new installment of Fragments of Silicon coming up. Sorry, Moonhawk Studios presents. That's another thing that shows like this do. They frazzle the mind. Because I'm like trying to think on the fly here. Anyway, if I can get to the page. No. Apologies. All right, so coming up on the Sunday game review, we'll be having reviews of Flashback, The Quest for Identity, Right Wars, Into the Emberlands, and Fire Shark. Fair warning, we do have a couple of retro titles up for review, so they may go long. Just throwing that out. Like, I don't anticipate either one going an hour, but it's happened before. Anyway, so with that in mind, until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.